Anyway. Hey, we sat and watched Elimination Chamber on this big old TV. I got the Peacock working on it, but not YouTube TV, so we had to watch Rampage on our phones.
We watched Rampage separately, so we'll see. Maybe we had wildly divergent opinions there.
Like I'm sure we did for Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. So we start with that one then?
Yeah, I guess.
WWE, we watched WWE Elimination Chamber February 19th, 2022. It opens with nothing. Nothing happens for 15 plus minutes.
15 minutes, dude. By the way, not to jump ahead, but I mentioned this last night. Do you know what happens if you add together all of the match times? You know how long the show was?
I'm going to say 45 minutes. If even that seems long.
1 hour and 6 minutes of wrestling on this show.
Yeah.
Okay. There was so much bullshit, nothing happened on this show. We watched this show in an hour and a half. This 2 hour and 50-minute show. Hour and a half we watched this show. And we sat through a bunch of ring entrances, which I normally wouldn't do, but I did have to see Alexa Bliss, what they were going to do with her, so I made you sit through the women's entrances. But, my God, what a bunch of bullshit.
So 15 plus minutes of nothing happens. Then we get Roman Reigns and Goldberg. Saudis do love themselves in Goldberg. That has to be said. They love Goldberg a lot. Didn't have much of a match. Goldberg can't do much. He cannot get thrown out of the ring at one point. He was slammed into the Arabic announce table, which is a new one. Hit a couple of spears. But when we tried the jackhammer, Roman turned it into a guillotine. And he choked Bill out.
Dude, where to begin?
Where to end? That's it.
There was 6 minutes of stuff.
Did I miss anything?
All right, yeah, well, here's the problem. So, remember we used to watch Goldberg in WCW and we were like, this guy looks like he's green, but he's like a wild animal.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah.
Well, now he's like 50-something, so he's not really a wild animal anymore. He's like an older gentleman. Still jacked up and mean-looking and everything like that.
Sure.
He definitely is not he's like when you watch that National Geographic and they've got, the old animal that used to be like the king of the jungle, but now all the young lions are,
I read a great book in junior high called King of the Grizzlies. It's this exact story.
Well,
there's a king of the Grizzlies, then he gets older, and a younger, smarter bear takes him down.
See, that's the thing. Like, if you are green and you wrestle like a wild animal, and then all of a sudden you're an old animal, this being green thing don't work anymore.
No.
So, like, there were moments in this match where I was like, this guy hasn't gotten better in 25 years.
He's much worse.
I didn't say he's much worse.
He's worse.
But,
not much worse, but...
he, I don't know. He wasn't bad, but...
It was too short to be bad.
It was weird. It was just a weird match to watch. And then the fucking finish when Roman puts him in this guillotine, and Goldberg fucking rams him into the corner and grabs the ropes, and the referee doesn't even ask the guy to break the hold. He's in the ropes, right?
I mean, he's grabbing them.
Yes, that's in the ropes.
Yes.
Like, that's a fucking rope break.
I'm agreeing with you.
And the ref's like, oh, well, Roman, you can pull him back to the middle. No big deal. Pulls the fucking guy back to the middle. I think Goldberg got the ropes a second fucking time. Ref didn't do anything. And then Roman guillotined him and choked him out, and that was the end of that. So the announcers made no mention of this blatant disregard of the rules by the referee. So, I guess maybe if Goldberg re-signs, they can, have him do this promo about what bullshit this was. But certainly didn't play it up like it was bullshit. I would give this match, like, I don't know, a star.
I wrote 1.5.
Maybe a 1.5. I'd give it a 1.5.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it wasn't like a horrible match, but there was, like, nothing to it.
I don't recommend it.
It was a Goldberg-Roman Reigns Saudi Arabia match.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
The Women's Elimination Chamber match, I believe the entrances that you made me watch lasted longer than most episodes of Rampage. We have Nikki Ash starting the match. I know it's ASH, but I refuse to say it. Nikki Ash
Bullshit.
starting with Liv Morgan. The only notable thing in this opening segment was Liv is like on her back in the corner, and Nikki is outside sitting in the grate area, whatever they call it now. And she like spins Liv like they're playing Twister or something into the post, and they call this unique offense. I would have called it shitty offense.
I stood up for Corey Graves when he won Worst Announcer in the Observer Awards because he's not the worst announcer. I mean, he's just objectively not. Like, you got Cole, you got Byron Saxton, we had Matt Stryker, we had a fucking guy, Adnan Virk, who was so bad he got fired 2 months later. How does he not win Worst Announcer?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But anyway, the point is, as much as I defended this guy, Liv Morgan comes out and he does a thing about how, Liv Morgan's had chance after chance, and if she doesn't win tonight, I just don't think she's ever going to do it. Like, what a fucking burial, dude. Like, you know she ain't going to win tonight.
Christ.
You know that's not where the storyline is going. What a shitty thing to say about Liv Morgan. And, of course, she didn't win. So it's like, wow, what a great announcer you are. I mean, fuck. Yeah, it does look like she's never going to get her due. But, I mean, if you watch WWE, I mean, if she re-signs for another 30 years, I mean, when she's 45, she'll probably get a championship. I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was shitty.
So they were doing very fast time intervals. I don't know if anyone...
2 minutes. It used to be 5 minutes and
Yeah.
then 2-2-2. This was just like 2-2-2-2. We got to get this thing done in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because we got video packages to air.
Just so many video packages. Dewdrop is number 3. She beat people up in a boring manner for a while.
I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah.
I like this Dewdrop.
Rhea Ripley is the fourth person in, so Nikki is scared of Rhea. She tries to run away in a chamber match. She is yanked out the cage and falls under 2 people, one of whom is Dewdrop, so it was a very safe catch. And then Rhea just grabs her and pins her with Riptide.
What a geek. If only I had my music right now.
So what was actually even more notable to me than this is that not how easily and quickly Rhea dismissed Nikki and pinned her, but what happened next, which was nothing.
No.
Door open, they took her out, everyone's standing there, and I'm screaming, fight each other! The match isn't over yet! Keep working!
No, we need to get more bodies in the ring.
So Bianca Belair was the last woman in, and as you...
Well, you got to talk about Alexa here.
Oh, I apologize. I skipped Alexa's whole segment. My bad.
Okay,
Yeah.
listen, everybody.
Yeah.
I know some of you don't watch Raw, so let me explain this to you. So, Alexa was the female fiend, right?
As I recall.
And then her doll got destroyed.
Okay.
And she vanished to get nasal surgery, and she was gone for months and months. So then they have a series of vignettes. Alexa is working her way back to Raw, okay? So she's in therapy with this bloke. And it's like 5 fucking weeks of this.
I already
right?
hate this.
Yeah. This guy is like trying to, and I quote, cure her. Because that's what you do in therapy. You
Sure.
cure people.
Yep.
So first, you know, he shows her the remnants of the doll, and she cries, everything like that. And then she gets mad, and, you know, then the next week she's more calm, and then he's asking her about her behavior and all this and that. So the point of all of this is how it ends is the guy presents her with a new doll, a replica, okay?
Yep.
And he says, I bought this replica doll, and I have taken all the stuffing from the old doll, and I put all of that in the new doll, okay? You, he says, Alexa Bliss, you're cured, okay? You're no longer a creep, but to remain cured, you must carry this doll with you wherever you go. We clear?
She must carry the doll with her wherever she goes. She must carry the doll with her wherever she goes.
So after 5 fucking nonsensical bullshit weeks, which, by the way, on Twitter, Alexa did the old, you gotta let it play out. After 5 fucking weeks, she comes out, dressed as a schoolgirl, skipping to the ring. She's got a fucking swing set in her pod. Nothing has changed with this character. I guess there was no magic, but it's the same fucking character. And guess what? No doll! After all that, she can't bring a fucking doll to the ring. Maybe the king of Saudi Arabia was like, bro, we can't have dolls.
Was the doll's arms or legs exposed?
They could put the fucking outfit on the doll. Bro, they make clothes for dolls. I have kids.
I'm just trying to...
I'm up to my ass in doll clothes. But anyway, same bullshit
Why did you
gimmick.
point to your head when you were talking about your ass?
Because I mean, you know,
All right.
figure of speech.
I see.
Same fucking bullshit gimmick. She comes out, and of course, you know, same thing as before. When she actually wrestles, the people like her. They just don't want to see the fucking stupid gimmick.
Yeah, people-
So she's out here wrestling and everything like that, and I mean, she was fine. But big return, she got pinned in the end.
She did get to pin Dewdrop.
Yes.
Pin Dewdrop with a sunset bomb. And yes, people did love Alexa Bliss. That is true. So then, Bianca Belair is the last person in. And I'm a huge Bianca fan. And the last portion when she got in there is actually really, really good. She grabs Liv Morgan, and she's out on the ramp and press slams her and then drops one arm. So she's pressing her with one arm over her head. And it was a long one-arm press before she finally dropped her. So she grabbed, I think, Liv. And Rhea grabbed Alexa. I may have that switched, but... Bianca and Rhea had a suplex off where they both go over the long delayed suplex at the same time, And then Rhea starts to show off by using one arm and flexing the other. And so Bianca manages to do squats and run in place. This part was great. That was killer. There's a bunch of stuff happening. The production on the show, even by WWE standards, was god-awful. We've talked about the camera cuts and the zooming. But the new thing that happened is we're going to miss what's happening in the ring because we're going to show you fans instead. I don't want to watch wrestling fans. I want to watch wrestlers. I want to watch wrestling matches, not wrestling fans. So there's a bunch of stuff happening here. I couldn't tell what was going on. Alexa pinned Liv with Twisted Bliss. And then Bianca quickly pinned Rhea with the KOD. So it's down to Bianca and Alexa one-on-one. This went very badly for Alexa as Bianca just ragdolls her for a while. She missed a 450, and that gave Alexa a chance to get a few near falls, and then Bianca just hit the KOD and won anyway. I enjoyed this match on the whole, and in the end, Bianca was undoubtedly the superior woman involved.
The match was all right. I do want to defend WWE because I saw a lot of feedback on Saturday night. People that are like, oh my God, what a boring WrestleMania. Fuck, how many times have we seen Bianca Belair? Listen, geeks, okay? When they had that SummerSlam match and Becky Lynch came back and she beat Bianca Belair in 26 seconds, all I heard was people bitching about how they fucked over Bianca Belair, okay? So here we are. It's the Elimination Chamber. Bianca Belair wins the Elimination Chamber. She is going to WrestleMania to face Becky Lynch, where I would bet dollars to donuts. I could be wrong. It's WWE, but it only makes sense. She is going to get her revenge on Becky Lynch and win the Raw Women's title. And why are we bitching about this? Like, all you people did was complain about what happened at SummerSlam. Now they're going to pay off that story by giving Bianca her big win to end, which, by the way, they when they talk about Becky Lynch, they say that she is, the fuck do they say? It's something like she's been champion for 478 days or whatever, even though she wasn't. Like, she vacated the title and went and had a baby, came back and won the title. They're considering this an uninterrupted reign.
Really?
So they could just talk about how she's been champion for 447 days or whatever. So anyway, the point of this is, Bianca's going to get her revenge. It's all people bitched about. Now they're bitching about something else. I don't want to hear it. There's plenty of stuff to bitch about. Bitching about Bianca winning this chamber and going to WrestleMania to win the title from Becky, this is not bitch-worthy. Stop.
Okay.
The next match, for crying out loud.
This next match, as far as I could tell, was Charlotte and Sonya Deville with a broken arm versus Naomi and Ronda Rousey with one arm tied behind her back.
Correct.
Okay.
Ronda put an arm bar on Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville came back with her arm in a sling. Sonya Deville was told by Vince McMahon, stop fucking with the performers or you're going to lose your job. She immediately wants a hand tied behind the back match with Ronda Rousey, which Vince McMahon okays, by the way. Then it turns out, once they tie Ronda's hand behind her back, that Sonya's arm actually isn't hurt, which, of course, they're too stupid to think that this actually buries Ronda Rousey's armbar. Ain't much of an armbar. It didn't actually hurt her. She fake was hurt. So, yes, we had to tie Ronda Rousey's arm behind her back, which, of course, is fucking impossible to do. So they try, and her arm just ends up by her side for the entire match, and she just pretends like she can't use it. What a fucking waste. You know how much you're paying Ronda Rousey to ever do matches with one arm tied behind her back?
Probably a lot.
A lot!
Yeah. So Charlotte's out there looking like Mrs. Claus in red long johns and black boots. That was a very strange look.
Did you say long johns?
Yes, I said long johns.
God,
I'm
is it the 70s?
I'm an old man in a rocking
Fuck.
chair. She was in her long johns. Anyway, so there's a bunch of stuff with Sonya faking an arm injury and Ronda pretending she can't use one arm even though she clearly can. Eventually, it gets down to Charlotte and Naomi in the ring, who the two women with four healthy arms between them. That part was actually really, really good. And Naomi busts out a tornillo pescado, and Charlotte has this big-ass, almost a last ride powerbomb. And Ronda tagged in. At one point, I counted, I believe, 5 camera cuts for her to deliver one Samoan drop. And she tapped out Sonya with a one-armed armbar, and Charlotte was just watching there and did not make the save. So, on the whole, I actually like this too. There's just so much goofiness going on.
I mean, listen, as much as I bitched about it, the match in the ring was better than I expected it to be. And Naomi has looked good of late, and Charlotte, I mean, she's kind of hit and miss, but when she's on, she's good. And I thought Ronda was good in this match, working a match with her arm tied behind her back, and Sonya's been good. So it was much better. It was like the Miz mixed tag at the Royal Rumble. I had low expectations going in. It exceeded them. So, congratulations to them. But this is what you felt you needed to do to make me want to see Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. I feel there's better ways to try to accomplish that mission.
Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss.
Remember the last time they wrestled and you were unimpressed?
Vaguely. I remember you liked it a lot more than I did.
Yeah, this was a fucking good match.
It probably was, but there's one part that is all... Well, one
Corbin?
No, it's the part where Madcap almost died.
Well, there was that.
So I do like that because it's no DQ, no count off, false count anywhere, and so the bell rings, and Happy and Madcap just attack Drew 2-on-1. Great! That's what you should do in every no DQ match if you have friends. Drew apparently has no friends. No one came out to help him.
Yeah, there's another one. Corey Graves. I think it was Corey again. Maybe this guy did deserve worse announcer. Corey Graves is talking as Drew McIntyre's double teamed. Man, this guy ain't got no friends. And it's like, fuck, listen, when I watch it, I'm like, why does this guy have no friends, okay? But your average person at home, they're just fucking watching this and drinking beer or something like that. You don't have to fucking bury Drew McIntyre by reminding all of them that this guy ain't got no friends to help him when these two guys are double teaming. I don't know why he says this shit.
So during this match, and eventually Corbin just disappears, and this is a one-on-one match in the ring, and...
He was out there.
He was at ringside.
Yeah.
But he just stopped fighting.
When his buddy was doing all right, he just let him do all right.
I guess. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Drew goes for the reverse Alabama slam. And it's just a move where you have the guy hanging your back, and you flip forward, and he goes flying forward onto his face. I can only assume that Madcap Moss was trying to take the bump of the year and flip it all the way over onto his back.
I don't think so, dude.
Well, then I don't know what on earth this was. Because
Well, what happened is... How many people do you see do that move?
One.
Exactly.
Drew McIntyre.
And this is exactly... How many people do the Styles Clash?
Regularly one.
Regularly one.
Yep.
And El Phantasmo does it every now and then. But when you have a move like that almost nobody else does, I mean...
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sure that they were back there, and Drew said, I have this move, and this is what it is, and, just go with it. Like, don't tuck, don't do anything. And, Madcap's never taken this move, and he probably felt like he was going way too high and thought, fuck, I just need to tuck my head. Just like people do when they screw up the Styles Clash. It's like they're going towards their head, and they instinctually tuck even though they're not supposed to. I think that's what he did. I don't think he was trying to flip over. I think he just fucked it up.
The end result is that he was hurled with more than just his own body weight, because Drew's throwing him down to make a big slam out of it, and he lands right on his head. And when I say right on his head, you need to understand something. I watch wrestling a lot, and I see guys get suplexed or brainbust or whatever, and I think, oh my god, he fell right on his head. And I'm terrified, and I watch a replay and I realize, well, it wasn't that bad. There's some of the Adam Cole match on Rampage. This one, when they showed the replay, I screamed live, knowing, by the way, because we didn't watch the show live. No. The only thing we heard about the show was Madcap Moss nearly died. So when we actually watched it on TV, knowing it was going to happen, I still screamed anyway. And then they showed a replay that was 100 times worse.
Yeah.
This was severe spinal compression. He's 4 inches shorter than he used to be. This is how you get paralyzed and break your neck and end up in a wheelchair or dead.
Dude.
I have no idea how he did anything after this.
Bro, this guy went to the back and, he was fine. Let me rephrase that, because this is the Ricky Starks deal and many others as well. He said he was fine. He said he felt fine. They gave him the examination in the back, and they said he was fine. Bro, I don't know if he's fine. This looked like a fucking neck breaker.
If he's fine, he'll never die.
Well.
He's indestructible.
Go. I mean, he has a thick neck and all. But, bro, he went right down
also
on
a
his
thick
head.
chest and thick legs, and another thick-chested, thick-legged dude throwing him down onto his spine. Not even onto his head. Onto his spine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They kept working. He did the whole match afterwards.
He's taking a superplex a minute later.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. So, as if I'm not even in a weird enough state of mind as this match goes on, Drew hits the future shock, a DDT. He drops the guy on his head again, and then he knows Baron Corbin is going to interfere, and so he goes to the corner, and he grabs a sword. And obviously, as part of his entrance, he comes to the ring with a big claymore sword, but he grabs the sword, and he swings it at Baron Corbin in an attempt to cut the man's head off.
Well, if you would have watched the build, they advertised that this sword will be used in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Because of course it will be. And so they had to have a sword spot. And the spot was, I'm going to swing, and then when you think about it, it's like, you should have got that damn sword like at the very beginning of this match.
It's no DQ.
That fucker kept interfering. You should have grabbed that sword and swung it at him then. But he swings a sword at the guy, and Corbin goes running and complaining. And it was kind of funny when he complained, because swords are legal, brother. That was the build. And then he grabbed that sword, did the countdown, hit a claymore with a sword. That scared me.
Running across the ring, waving his big-ass sword.
You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to play with swords.
No, don't run with scissors or claymores.
Kick this guy, and
it's a reasonable rule.
And I thought this was a very good match.
Cameron missed the 3 count to show Corbin being scurred. I assume Drew won. I couldn't even rate this. It was just between Madcap nearly dying and then Baron Corbin nearly dying. I like the rest of things seemed very good, and Madcap Moss is, like I say, he's indestructible. And the fact he's taking superplexes and other bumps on the floor and stuff, it was nuts.
Dude, I like
this. It
this
certainly
Madcap.
was nuts.
I like this Madcap Moss. I think he's been very good of late. It's a shitty gimmick, but this fucking guy, when you see this guy hit the ropes, he is such an incredible athlete.
Oh yeah.
And he's turned into a pretty good worker. And Drew McIntyre clearly likes this guy because they've had 2 matches now where Drew has done everything in his power to get like a really good match out of this guy, to like show people, why has this guy got this dumb fucking gimmick? He should like be something right now. And I don't know if they'll do anything with the guy, but I mean, they should. He's good. This was honestly the best. I would probably, because of Brock brutalizing people for like 5 minutes, I think most people will vote that for the best match on the show. But really, as an actual match from bell to bell, this was the best match on the show.
Becky Lynch versus Lita. So Lita is 11 years older than Becky Lynch, but you could not tell. We are told Lita has not had a meaningful one-on-one match in 16 years. I don't even know what they're referring to, but they're outright saying some of our matches are meaningless.
Well, I think that, they totally buried the Royal Rumble. Corey is another one. This guy is the fucking worst announcer. Corey goes, you know, a lot of people are saying that Lita only got this match because of her name value. But that's not true. You know, she's been working out hard. I was like, I've been fucking working out hard. I don't got a championship match. What the fuck are you talking about? And then they go, she hasn't had a meaningful match in 16 years. I'm like, God. So she is getting this because of her name value. But she was, you know what? This was very much like the hand tied behind the back match. I did not have high expectations going in. I didn't think it was going to be like a disaster, but I didn't think they were going to do a lot. You know, Lita hasn't been around forever. But, man, they went out there and they had a good match. They worked hard. They did a lot of stuff. I would not say that it was as good in the ring as the Drew McIntyre Madcap match, but
no, at all.
I thought this was way better than I expected it to be.
So here's the thing about this. We went back and watched the Monday Night Wars era, which is the debut of Lita and her rise to fame. And obviously she had a long career after that in the early 2000s. But we watched the part where she was at maybe her most popular, and she wasn't very good. She had a great look and a great connection to the fans and a great finish. But when it came to actually wrestle, she really wasn't that good. So when I watched this, again, like you, I had low expectations. And at the very least, this was not any worse than most of her matches from like 1998. So
yeah, given she's 20-something years older,
yes,
and hasn't done this in forever. I mean, there was a lot of stuff where they were on kind of different pages, and Becky and the ref were calling spots, and they botched something in the corner and had to redo it. But, I mean, all things considered, I mean, I can't give this a bad review. I thought that they overachieved. It was a good championship match with a legend against a current star.
There was a point, and they're doing this a lot in WWE, but also in AEW, I'm sure other promotions. They're the way over-the-top, shocked two-count face. Becky here set new standards.
Becky is the prime offender.
It's reaching self-parody now. She's making a joke out of herself.
Yes.
So Lita finally, I mentioned her great finisher moonsault. She actually hit it here. They almost missed it, Well, this is not the crowd reaction. This is where they go to a close-up of as she's climbing the ropes. So you see a close-up of her face, and then she jumps backwards for the moonsault, but the camera stays there. So now all you see is air, is dead air. And they cut as she was like a foot off the ground, and you at least saw her, she did hit the moonsault. Apparently shooting wrestling is really hard, even though they've been doing it for
Actually,
like 70
it's not.
years. Yeah.
Just put the fucking camera on them.
They would be so much better with one camera. With just a hard camera and fire all the cameramen.
Actually, no, they'd be better with Vinny. They'd be better with a good director.
Sure, that would work too.
Because, bro, whose job is it to get the shot?
The director.
Well,
He's supposed to organize. He's got 5 camera dudes. He's supposed to know where they are and tell them where to go.
the cameraman is responsible for getting the right shot.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So just let him get the fucking right shot. What do you have to switch to 85 cameras for? Which cameraman has the best shot of the moonsault? Put the fucking thing on that guy and not the other guy that's got a picture of fucking air.
Then there's the other weird thing about this match. Speaking of her moonsault, she hits the moonsault, Becky kicks out, and then Becky grabs her and slams her and wins.
Bro, what the fuck was
I was
that?
bewildered. I was certain.
Yeah, you had to see it again.
I was certain there had been a camera cut to a crowd shot or something and I had missed the finish. But no, that's what happened. She took a moonsault, kicked out, no-sold it to death, and slammed her and pinned her.
I still believe that it is possible that the reason they did that was because they were rushed. And they wanted to get the Twist of Fate and Moonsault in, because that was the biggest pop in the match by miles, because the fans actually thought that Lita was going to beat Becky Lynch. And then, like, they were out of time, so they just immediately went to the finish. I've seen them do this before. It fucking sucks. And it was bizarre to watch.
Well, speaking of being rushed, there's supposed to be a Viking Raiders versus Usos match. They sent the Viking Raiders out to do their entrance. I've watched these guys since Ring of Honor when they were War Machine, and they had a great run in NXT as the War Raiders. And they come out here as the Viking Raiders, and they're such medieval times cosplay dorks.
That's coming from Vinny.
Yeah, and they come out there, and the music is chanting war, 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 and they are, the two of them in sync, like marching in sync, almost bushwhacker-like, war, war, war. Trying to get people to chant like they're the New Kids on the Block. And
New Kids on the Block.
Oh. That's what the war thing is like, yeah. So they're coming out there, and then the Usos just run out and kill them. Complete dorks. And,
With nothing. It's like, they did the one guy suplexed one guy into the other guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, the guy in the bottom got squished by a 350-pound guy.
Okay.
All right. What about the guy that landed on him?
He landed on
Why is he injured?
his soft, cushy partner.
Yeah.
Corey Graves screams, "There's no way the Viking Raiders will be able to compete tonight." And I thought, why not? We see this every single match. What's the big deal? Well,
I seem to recall, by the way, that the Viking Raiders do a spot where one guy slams the big guy on other guys, right?
He's fine.
Now all of a sudden the guy that gets slammed is like unable to compete?
Dude.
Of all the injury angles. Can you imagine, by the way?
So, yes, this is how they wrote off the match.
People have talked about flying 18 hours to Saudi Arabia, having your match axed, and flying 18 hours back. How horrible this would be. And they're not wrong. But what is more horrible is there was an hour and 10 minutes of wrestling on this 2 hour and 50-minute show. And it was more important to air a bunch of fucking video packages than to let these fuckers who flew 18 hours to Saudi and 18 hours back actually have a 4-minute wrestling match.
Dude.
I'd be furious.
The state of this company.
At least they got paid.
I'm sure they got paid very well. The Men's Elimination Chamber match. Seth Rollins starts with Austin Theory and immediately picks him up and powerbombs him through the glass into Bobby Lashley's pod. Now, before we get into what happened next, I was confused because last time I saw Bobby Lashley, he was winning the WWE title from Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. And when I saw him in this match, I knew it was an Elimination Chamber match going on, but I assumed that it would be to see who faced the other champion besides the Royal Rumble winner. Because Brock won the Rumble, so he would get to pick one champion, and I assumed this match would be to see who faced the other. No. Bobby Lashley just had to defend his title in a chamber match for no reason.
You know, on the subject of Madcap Moss, remember Madcap Moss was fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who else I heard was fine after the Royal Rumble?
Was that Robert Lashley?
Yeah, Bob Lashley.
Bob Lashley.
Guess what? He wasn't fine.
Not fine. No
because
good.
when he got dropped on his fucking shoulder 15 times, we said, that can't be good for your shoulder. Turns out it wasn't good for his shoulder. So he's going to be out several months with shoulder surgery, and that's why they did this angle to write him off the show.
Okay. So we'll just skip ahead to the finish because I want to talk about this now. So rather than just announce Bobby Lashley has suffered a shoulder injury, we're going to strip him of the title and crown a new champion at Elimination Chamber, which would actually make sense. That would actually be a perfectly logical thing to do when faced with a undesirable situation, but it's a logical progression of events. We're going to pretend he's not injured, advertise him, fly him out there, immediately do an injury angle to take him out of the match, and then just have the guy who he won it from win it back.
You know what's funny about that, too?
I have that right?
Yes, that's what happened.
Right.
What's funny about this, Vinny, is that they blatantly false advertised here. And what they actually could have done is what you mentioned. And in fact, if you tell people that Bobby Lashley won the championship from Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, but Brock Lesnar gave him such a fucking beating that he needs to go in for shoulder surgery and vacate his championship, but Brock isn't just going to get it. He needs to go through a chamber to get it. He then goes through the chamber to get it. He actually is stronger with that than with this false advertising they did here. And the claim is, we want to do everything we can to make Lesnar as strong as possible going into WrestleMania. Well, you could have, but you chose to false advertise instead, as opposed to doing the logical thing here.
So Seth powerbombs Theory through the pod, and Lashley falls backward and sells his head against the pod. They help him out, and he is never seen again. And apparently won't be seen for a long time. Riddle is number 3. They're throwing stomps, and the camera's cutting every time there's a stomp. Stomps, dude.
Because we're not sure that Riddle can throw an effective stomp, being a former mixed martial arts UFC fighter.
We don't know about Riddle's credibility as a striker. We need to protect him with camera cuts. AJ Styles is 4. Bunch of big spots there. That Riddle hits the floating bro. He had Randy's double draping DDT. He is prepping for the RKO when the lights start to flash, the countdown begins, and there's only 2 pods left, and Bobby Lashley's been taken out of one, and Brock is in the other. So everyone is assuming Brock is next. And then what happened next is actually brilliant, because they go to Lashley's pod. He was supposed to come in at number 5, but he's gone. But Brock can take no more. He's not going to wait any longer. He busts out of his pod like King Kong breaking out of his chains when the flash bulbs go off. He begins to annihilate people. He pins Seth with an F5. He pins Riddle with an F5. Kills a little bit of time. He pins AJ with an F5. And now we're down to Brock Lesnar versus Austin Theory, with the winner being the WWE champion.
Bro, I knew this was coming, because this is the Vince McMahon playbook. We need to make young stars. How are we going to do it? Well, we're going to put this fucker in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
He's going to get a couple of moves on Brock. And then Brock's going to beat the holy fucking shit out of him. That's going to get this kid over.
Skin him alive.
God.
I didn't listen to it, but I am to understand that Brock Lesnar did an interview on Pat McAfee's show talking about how young guys need how to work and get over and put butts in seats. Do I have the gist of this correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's not what happened here. It took a long time to erase Austin Theory from the earth. At one point, Austin managed to get some offense after taking a low blow. He kicks Brock Lesnar in the nuts, and Corey Graves, who I'm convinced is the worst announcer, Corey Graves screams, "Brilliant!" He hit him in the balls! That is brilliant now!
Most men would ever think of hitting a man in the balls when being mauled.
No. Turn to that in a moment of self-defense. So Austin Theory's got this spot where he rolls through the ropes and a somersault, pops up for a cool drop kick. It's a really cool, good spot. They missed it. Camera cut, missed it. Close up, missed it. Keeps trying to run away again. Eventually is caught on top of one of the pods, and Brock is standing there on top of the pod with Austin on his shoulders. And I was terrified he was actually going to throw him, like they would both go into the ring somehow. Thankfully, that's not what happened.
I thought he was going to try and German him.
or that. Or that. He throws Austin off the pod. Austin lands on his feet on the greeting area outside the ring and rolls down. And Brock climbs down, throws him in the ring, and pins him. A very weird match. Some very weird booking. I had to confirm, because so much has happened. This is the second time in 2022 that Brock Lesnar has won the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, it's funny. I enjoyed the hell out of the last 5 minutes of this match.
Well, Brock killing people is fun.
Brock fucking brutalizing guys is great. But, I mean, there's also the downside, which is, what a bunch of fucking geeks. Like, Riddle's a geek, AJ's a geek. There's fucking geeks.
Oh, the whole roster, dude.
1 F5 pinned. 1 F5 pinned. 1 F5 pinned. Guy gets F5 off the fucking cage pinned. All geeks. And, you know, Dave's talking about, and he's not wrong. The idea here is that people have seen Lesnar Roman Reigns 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And so we need to give them something to make this one special. Which, you know, when you think about it, it's like, well, you know what would be special is maybe a different fucking match. If, like, we've seen this match 1,000 times. But we're going to do this one. So we got to make it special. So, like, Roman has to be way up here above everybody else. Brock needs to be way up here above everybody else. It's got to be champion versus champion with both titles on the line. So it's title versus title. They've confirmed that. And then what?
They'll do it against
Who
SummerSlam.
in the fuck is Roman Reigns going to face in fucking May? Who is Roman Reigns going to face in June? Who's he going to face in July? Like, they're hoping that next WrestleMania, he's going to face The Rock.
It's nice to want things.
You know, The Rock
It's nice
is?
to hope things.
This guy, the last time he wrestled, okay, last time Rock wrestled, a decade ago. Do you guys remember what happened last time Rock wrestled when he was a decade younger?
I believe he tore his hamstring.
Bro, he tore like his abdominals. He tore like his pelvis off the bone or some shit. Like, he got injured in 2011 and in 2012. He was 10 years younger. And now this guy's going to come back next year for a WrestleMania main event against Roman Reigns. Bro, I don't care what this guy's telling you. I'll believe it when I see it. And even if he is there, then what? Who's next? Who have you built up? I don't even think you got something for next year, much less May, June, July, August, fucking SummerSlam, Survivor Series. I mean, it's all well and good for, like, the short term, but long term, they're fucked.
Braun Breaker.
You hear me? Fucked. I wish Braun Breaker. I could use $1,000 after this trip.
There you go. That was Elimination Chamber.
It wasn't offensive.
As these things go.
There was, well, I mean, it was offensive, but
Right.
I'm talking like there was no negative star matches.
No.
There was no 5-star matches.
There was no 4-star matches. There may have been a 3-star match.
It was largely average matches from start to finish.
Yeah, and if you're not watching it live, you can skip through things and it breezed by.
I mean, I will give them credit that they're building up what should be a good card for WrestleMania. We got Lesnar Roman title versus title, a strong match. Becky Lynch going for revenge against, Bianca going for revenge against Becky Lynch. Ronda and Charlotte, you know, people still love Ronda. So those are the top 3 matches for Mania, and it's not shitty weak matches. You may not think that they're good matches, but I would think that the average generic WWE fan probably thinks pretty damn good matches for WrestleMania right now.